Welcome to Chat with the Lawyer. I'm your host, Walla Blagay, and today we're going to be talking about condos and homeowners associations. Now, I know almost all of you are in one, either one, and if you are, we're here to talk to Nicole Williams, who is a prominent real estate attorney, who's going to talk to us about the legal issues with condos and homeowners associations. Welcome, Nicole.
Thank you, Walla. Thank you so much for having me here today. And so, yeah, I primarily represent a lot of condo associations and homeowner associations here in Prince George's County. And, when people purchase their home, it's like the biggest investment that they'll probably make in their lives. And so, want to make sure that people understand, you're not just buying a home, but you're also buying a home within a homeowners association or a condo within a condo association, and what exactly that means. And so condo associations and homeowner associations, they take care of certain things that over time counties and cities, would normally take care of, such as trash removal or snow removal. And so that's a cost that, that the county doesn't have to incur, but now it's the responsibility of these homeowner associations and condo associations that have been created over time by, state laws and local laws and, recording of different documents in county land records and things like that.
So start with the beginning. Where did the condos and homeowners associations come from? Is this?
Yeah, it started, you really see kind of an uptick kind of in the 70s is where it came from. And I think it started because a lot of, municipalities were trying to figure out ways to, help spur development, especially residential development within their communities, but also didn't necessarily have the financial resources to deal with the building of the roads and the road maintenance and those types of things. And so you started to see developers creating what they call homeowner associations, which are created by simply recording what they call covenants in the county land records. And so that's kind of how it all started, many years ago.
Okay, interesting. Now, I know in the county there seems to be a lot of issues with various HOAs and condo associations not being able to, sort of get their members to pay in. So talk about the legal issues with that. What if it's a smaller homeowners association? I know some have management companies, so tell us, the dynamics.
Yeah, so like I said, HOAs, they're primarily responsible for like trash removal, snow removal, if they have a clubhouse, maintaining the clubhouse or a pool and things like that. And, those things require money, and that's where the HOA dues come from. And so, every homeowner is asked to chip in every month or every year to help pay for those things. And so when a homeowner, for whatever reason is unable to contribute, it does, cause a hardship to the association because now they're unable to fund for the things that they are required to do, like the trash removal and the snow removal and those types of things. And so you'll see homeowner associations, there's certain legal requirements that they have to meet. You can send demand notices and things like that. But sometimes, depending on the situation, a homeowner might not necessarily respond to a demand notice. And so then a homeowner association may take the next step and maybe actually filing a lawsuit in district court. A lot of times those matters are considered small claims, anything under, say, $10,000 or something like that will get filed in district court. But homeowner associations also do have the right to record liens against an individual's property and even foreclose on those liens, just like the mortgage company can foreclose on a home. A homeowner association or condo association has foreclosure rights as well. And so, if you do fall behind as a homeowner for whatever reason, you definitely want to stay in communication with your condo association, your homeowner association, and try to make arrangements to try to, get caught up because you don't want to go down that road at all.
Well, let's go back. Now, Are you saying that if you don't pay your HOA fee or your condo fee, that you could be looking at destroying your credit possibly?
You can, because if a lawsuit's filed against you and that judgment's on your, pops up, that judgment will pop up on your credit report and negatively affect your credit. You always want to make sure, there are some instances where sometimes an association may send a demand notice or something, but, sometimes things happen. Payments get lost in the mail or whatever. So you definitely want to also make sure that you are in contact. When you receive that first initial demand, typically it'll say you have within 30 days to respond or 30 days to dispute the validity of the debt. And so you do have rights under the Fair Debt Fair Debt Collection Practices Act to send a notice to the association saying, hey, I dispute the validity of this debt, and I'm asking you, pursuant to the federal regulations, to provide me verification in writing about why I owe this money.
Interesting. Well, then what about these demand letters? Are these things that some HOA president could draft, or is that something that you as a lawyer would come in?
And I always encourage my clients to start in the beginning. I mean, to get an attorney involved, unfortunately, costs the association money a lot of times. And so a lot of times it's best if those initial, kind of demand notices come from the association as well, especially if, they're really worried about their finances and things like that. That is something that they can definitely do themselves. In terms of filing a lawsuit, under Maryland law, if you are a corporation, you cannot represent yourself in court. You have to have a lawyer representing you as a corporation in court. So when, if you do want to file a lawsuit against a homeowner and you're an incorporated homeowners association or condo association, at that point you will need to, seek the advice of legal counsel.
Interesting. How do you go after these homeowners that aren't paying their debt? Do you have to get their address? Like, how do you go about it?
Right. Well, every homeowner should be required under the association documents to provide their current mailing address. Most of the time they'll live at the property that's within the association, but sometimes they may, they could be renting the property. And so you're supposed to provide your off-site address. With our firm, most attorneys, we have fancy tools like LexisNexis and things like that where we can hunt down folks. But if you're just a board president and you don't have access to that, really the internet can become your friend. And even, in our law office, we found people via Facebook, LinkedIn, just using just regular social media, we'll find out where they work and things like that. And so, those items are free, and that's something that the association on their own can also utilize as well. The other thing we also say, if you have an association that says has a pool or other amenities where people need to request pool passes, usually we recommend that they'll have some type of form that people need to fill out, and making sure that you capture, their current information, where they work, their employment information. And so that way, heaven forbid, if that individual homeowner falls behind, you already have that information from when they filled out their pool pass application, for example.
Interesting. That's a good point. Well, let's talk about management companies. How do they come in?
Right. So most homeowner associations are run by a board of directors, but the board of directors are other individuals who live in the association. So they have their own normal 9-to-5 job, and they're just homeowners like everyone else. And so sometimes they will hire a management company, a property management company, to help them with the day-to-day items that can occur within an association, especially a lot of larger associations. That you just have to have a management company to assist you with those day-to-day items. And there are a number of different management companies. Some specialize in dealing with large properties, but there are some out there that specialize in assisting smaller communities and things like that. And they vary their prices, obviously, based on the size of the community. You always recommend to my clients that when they're looking for a new management company, to, just like with anything else, get 3 references or get a list of other properties that they also manage, and contact the boards of those particular properties about, how do you feel about this particular management company? A lot of managers will have classes that they've gone through, and different credentials and trainings that they've received from different trade organizations. And so you want to look to see if they've received any type of credentialing and things like that from various trade organizations here in Maryland. And you also want to make sure that you are really, once you hire a management company, really reviewing what they're doing. They're supposed to provide a management report every month, roughly, and you always want to make sure you're reviewing those management reports, especially the finances, because as a board member, you have a fiduciary duty to the association to make sure that the association is being run in the best cost-effective manner possible, so that everyone within the community has a beautiful place to live. And so I always recommend that, with the bank statement, you'll have the bank of the association send a copy to the management company, but also a second copy to the board treasurer or the board president. There was a situation here in Prince George's County a couple years ago where there was a management company actually, unfortunately, engaging in fraudulent activity. and to the point where he was collecting dues from the homeowners, but depositing those dues in a separate account that was not the account of the association, but his own personal account or a separate account. And basically, the associations were receiving their management report, and he was literally making up bank statements. The bank statements that he was providing to his clients were basically fraudulent. And so, but that was a situation where the bank was only sending the bank statements to the management company and not also sending a second copy to the boards. And so the boards thought that the bank statements they were receiving were the actual statements.
Well, we're going to come back and we're going to talk a little bit more about some of the consumer rights issues with homeowner associations and condo associations. So please stay tuned and we'll be right back.
Did you know that 1 in 5 kids comes from a home where food isn't always available? 1 in 5. That means it's likely that one of your kids' friends starts the day without breakfast. And when you're hungry, it's hard to focus and get through the day, and that's no way to set up our kids for success. Breakfast is essential in giving our kids the start that they need to unlock their potential. So imagine all that they could accomplish if each had a great start. That's why I'm joining up with Kellogg's Share a Breakfast program and their in-school breakfast partner, Action for Healthy Kids, to reach their goal of getting more than 1 million breakfasts over the course of a school year to kids that would otherwise go without. Here's how you can help. Share this video with a friend. Each time that happens, we'll donate a breakfast towards our goal. And visit sharebreakfast.com today to see all the other ways you and your friends can get kids the start they deserve.
Because my parents told me I have to be responsible.
Because my first coach told me, you can do this.
Because my teacher helped me see the choices.
Because my coach treated me like everybody else.
Because my boss showed me how to do a good job.
Because a mentor believed in my potential.
Is why I am where I am today.
I'm swimming faster than I ever dreamed I could.
I discovered that I could work as an artist.
I led my high school team to 2 championships.
I am a valuable employee.
I have a career that I am passionate about.
I will be whatever I want to be.
What can you do?
What can you do?
Like all young people, youth with disabilities should grow up expecting to work and succeed. For more information, visit whatcanyoudocampaign.org.
Look at these boots.
Man, those are nice. You should buy them.
Half the price of the real thing. Do you want them?
The production and sale of counterfeit goods cause more harm than meets the eye.
Get to work!
And the profits can fund organized crime.
So, do you want them?
Buying counterfeit products
No way.
is just not worth it.
Welcome back to Chat with the Lawyer, and I'm your host, Walla Blagay, and we're talking with Nicole Williams about legal issues with condo and homeowners and associations. So we're going to jump right back into it. Now let's get into the consumer rights issues that some condo and homeowner associations might experience and where they can go.
Yeah, certainly. So homeowner associations and condo associations under state law are actually kind of governed in a sense by the Attorney General's office. It's considered a consumer rights issue because as you're purchasing as a consumer. And so if you as an individual homeowner feel that your homeowner association is doing something fraudulent or not behaving in the best interest of the association, you can file a complaint with the Consumer Protection Division of the State Attorney General's office. And they have been known to, look at the situation, hold hearings internally to try to figure out what is going on with the association and why, this complaint has been brought forth to their office.
Interesting. And also, what if you are a small association. Now, should you sort of look into getting a lawyer as your management company? Like, how does that work?
Right. Well, as a small association, you really need to kind of think about what exactly it is that you would need. Say, if you're thinking about a management company, what would you need a management company to do? There are some management companies out there that will also provide not necessarily full management services, but maybe financial only management services, where they just kind of assist the association in collecting the dues and maintaining the books and things like that, but wouldn't necessarily assist the association with finding contractors for trash or snow and things like that. So there are a wide variety of different companies out there. In terms of an attorney, I have some clients that call me all the time. I have some that just kind of keep me on retainer and will contact me on an as-needed basis, especially if it's a smaller association. Because it can get costly sometimes if it's a very small association and they don't have a lot in actual income coming in, or they just don't have a lot of issues. And actually, that's a good thing if they don't have a lot of issues. So,
what is some of the advice from your practice that you would give presidents and heads of HOAs and condos associations that they should be aware of, that you as a lawyer look and say, I wish I can give that person good advice?
Yes. Well, I always tell my boards, just to treat, serving on the board of your association, it's a business. It really is. You're a corporation. And so you need to treat it like such. It's not a social club. It's not, I guess a tea party or something like that. It really is running a corporation. And so you need to take it very seriously. You need to hold meetings on a consistent basis and really follow the state laws. A lot of times, I don't know if boards really realize that, the Maryland Homeowners Association Act and Condo Act requires that all board meetings are open to all members of the association. And all members of the association are supposed to receive reasonable notice of all of those meetings that are being held. You cannot, there's only very limited situations in which you can have a closed meeting of the board. The law favors open and, for associations to be very open and transparent. And you also want to make sure that you are, really, producing a budget every year. Your budget is based off of the association's expenses for the last couple of years. And when you're creating your budget, really anticipate what the association may need coming down the road. Last winter wasn't a bad winter, but they say this winter is going to be a really bad winter. So if I'm doing, So if I'm working on my budget for next year, I'm like, we might need to add a little bit more in the budget for snow removal, for example. And I would say also the other thing is to just really making sure that you're communicating with all of the homeowners. A lot of the times the complaints that we'll see from individual homeowners, they're like, why should I pay into this association? I don't know what I'm receiving as a benefit of paying my dues. And so I think communication is really important, and really communicating to all of the residents within the community kind of what the association is doing and why, they're paying their dues and what their money is going to every single month.
Interesting. Now, when it comes to snow removal and all of that type of those issues, are any HOAs, is there any rules they should be aware of if they're not sort of getting their snow removal? Are they liable as an association, or is it?
Well, they're not. There isn't a specific law on the books that say they have to do it, but it's usually in the association's covenants that these are the types of things that the board is supposed to be doing. So if you as a board are not providing these things, it could be seen as you've, like I mentioned earlier, violating your fiduciary duties to the association, and you could be asked, in some instances, that's grounds for removal if you are not adhering to your responsibilities as a board of directors. Within, in the docs, it could say, you could be removed for this. So.
Right. And if an individual feels as if their management, not the management, but the board is not representing them properly, what can they do? Is this something where you go to an attorney general's office, or
right? Well, there's lots of different things you can do. One, the board should be holding elections on a regular basis, and so you have kind of an internal democratic process where if people aren't doing their job, then vote them off the board at the next annual meeting. Right. And they should be having annual meetings every year, because that is required under state law. If they're not having annual meetings, then yes, you need to go to the Attorney General's office.
Okay. Well, then that makes good sense. Now, let's talk about sort of starting an HOA. How do you go about doing that?
Right. So most HOAs are actually created by the developers.
Okay.
And so when the developer is creating a community, even before he actually starts breaking ground on building the houses and things like that, he will start to file the paperwork. In some instances, you're required to file paperwork with the Secretary of State, and also file the necessary paperwork with the county. And so it'll start off with just kind of the subdivision plats that have to get approved by the planning department.
Okay.
And then once the planning department approves the subdivision, then they will start the foundation of recording the declaration and covenants and recording the bylaws in the county records. And that's how it actually gets created.
Okay, that's good. So then it's already set.
It's already set by the time the homeowners have moved in. And in those situations, the developer may still be around, but at a point, and state law requires that when a certain number of homes have been sold to regular individuals, that association has to get transferred from developer control to homeowner control. And there's certain things that the developer is actually required under state law to make sure that the association receives. The association receives a copy of the declaration and the bylaws. The association receives copies of any contracts that developer has entered into on behalf of the association, a copy of the previous budget, a copy of all of the plats and plans and drawings, if it's a condo association, of the mechanical equipment and things like that. And so you definitely want to make sure you read the HOA Act and the Condo Act to ensure that the developer really is providing the homeowners with all of the documents that they're supposed to be providing, because I have seen that happen where an association will not receive all of the paperwork that they're supposed to receive from the developer. So definitely want to make sure of that.
Okay. Well, let's just go right back, because I want to end with this, making sure that people hear this. But I am aware, many people are aware, that a lot of HOAs are in debt, right? A lot of condo associations are in debt. How do they begin to come out of debt? And this is just sort of explained step by step for those who, because they're in so much debt, for some of them, that most people aren't able to even buy there, because you don't get the funding from many of the homeowners, from many of the government, of that you don't get the government funds, or even get anything from HUD if the homeowners associations or condo is in debt.
Right. So I think what most people don't realize is when they, like you said, when they don't pay their HOA dues, it really does hurt everybody within the association. And when you were talking about HUD, if it's a condo association and there are too many delinquencies within the association, individuals who have FHA financing from HUD are not able to purchase within that community. HUD will not allow individuals with FHA financing to purchase within a community that has over a certain number of delinquencies. And so that hurts you as a homeowner who lives in that community, your ability to sell. You can only sell to individuals who can qualify for conventional loans, which cost more, typically. And so, when you have those situations, really the board has to make a lot of times some very tough decisions. It's kind of a case-by-case basis, but some really tough decisions about remedies that they need to take so that they do start to become FHA compliant. If you have a large number of delinquencies, okay, now you need to sit down, whether it's with your legal counsel and or legal counsel management, to put together a strategy of how we're going to attack this delinquent situation. And as I mentioned earlier, homeowner associations actually do have the right to even foreclose on delinquent homeowners. They have the right to file a lien against the property, even foreclose on those liens. And sometimes, we've had to make the hard recommendation to some clients where you might need to start either doing sheriff sales or foreclosures to try to remove delinquent people, but hopefully get individuals into those units who will once again be able to pay. And so it's going to be a period where it's really tough, depending on the financial situation of the association. There are banks out there that will give association loans.
Oh, that's good.
Especially if it's an association where they need to do capital improvements. And I meant to mention capital improvements like replacing balconies or replacing roads and things like that.
We'll talk a little more about that.
Yeah. So associations may, or if you have a clubhouse, things like that, those are items that you don't necessarily need to repair every year, but maybe every 5 years or every 10 years. And so most associations should, in addition to their general operating budget, also have a reserve budget for those capital improvements. And you always want to make sure your reserves are properly funded. And the best way to do that, you can hire a reserve company or engineering company to do an assessment of the property to determine, the useful life of your amenities and when you'll need to repair them and how much it will cost the association down the road to repair them, so that you can plan accordingly. Okay, well, we need to collect X number of dollars every year to put in our reserve account so that we know 5 years from now we will have the money to replace the roof on our condo association. And so when you see associations that are having these financial issues, a lot of times it's because they haven't properly, set aside enough money for reserves or set aside enough money for various contingencies that may come up unexpectedly. And you definitely need to work that into your budget and plan accordingly for that. And with FHA, actually, that's one of the things that they look for when they're providing certification for condo associations is, what does your reserve study look like? How much money do you have saved in reserve? Because they know that if it's an association that has a solid reserve account, that's going to be a very well maintained and well kept association.
Interesting. And should condo associations think of getting auditing companies?
Yes. I always recommend to my clients that they should have a professional audit done once a year. I know it can get a little pricey, especially for some of the smaller associations, so maybe every other year, but you should definitely have an audit done once a year by a professional accountant.
All right, well, thank you, Nicole. This has been very informative. We're gonna have to bring you back for more information. If you all wanna hear more about other shows we have, please check our website at www.wallablagay.com. And Nicole, do you want to give information if someone wants to contact you?
Sure. So I'm an attorney with the law firm of Reese Broom, and you can contact me at any time. Our phone number, I'll give you the phone number to our main office, which is 703-790-1911. We represent associations in Maryland, D.C., as well as Virginia. Or you can email me at nwilliams@reesbroom, that's REES, broom with the E at the end.com.
All right, well, thank you so much, Nicole, and thank you for watching.
Thank you.
It's a beautiful day out here. Sunny today with light breezes, giving way to clouds in the afternoon. We could see some light precipitation to moderate precipitation later on, followed by powerful storm-like conditions. 90 miles per hour winds are expected. Authorities are asking everyone, stay